Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, and this is your host, Steve Creasy. I'd like to welcome back to the show our two co-hosts, Christy and Chris. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, well, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yep. And we are wrapping up our virtual Castaway Quarantine Key 5K Marathon weekend, and we brought a special guest on as well, Brian from the DCL Duo. We got half the DCL Duo with us. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm good, thanks.
Thanks for jumping on with us, and thanks for helping to bring this out to everybody and be part of this race weekend that we just had this past weekend.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun, actually.
I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who listens to our show and participated this weekend. We love seeing all your pictures, your posts, and stories. It was just amazing to see all the different posts and stories. And I don't want to single anybody out, but did anything kind of stand out to you guys this weekend from some of the pictures you saw?
I just love the amount of people that actually put the effort into running. I think people that maybe wouldn't have, not everybody did a 5K probably, but there were plenty of posts from people who did a 5K that said, hey, maybe we wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for this event. And so I just think that's really cool.
And I noticed some people the next day being like, you know what? I decided to run a second 5K this weekend. And I was like, oh, okay. You're really going for that gold star.
Or maybe even more than a 5K, Brian.
Well, yeah, I'm in the midst of trying to train up for potentially a marathon in October. So my long runs are probably a little bit longer than many. But yeah, I decided to go ahead and throw it up there for the Quarantine Key 5K in solidarity.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah.
Brian, I was listening to the show that you recorded with us, and I did the Chicago Marathon. So that was the marathon I did. It was 100 years ago, but it is very cool. It is a really great event. Sometimes it's warm, so just be prepared for that. But it's very cool.
I am most likely going to end up deferring it till next year, just because it's kind of a once in a lifetime race for me, and I'm a little worried that it'll be diminished in the current environment with all the restrictions they'll have on it. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I just may end up deferring it by a year.
So they are allowing the option to defer already?
They're allowing you to cancel and get a guaranteed entry into the following year's race, but you have to pay for your entry again, and you don't get any of your money back.
Oh, how fun.
So it's more of you just get to qualify to pay for it next year.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, which New York has done that at times, and I think it can actually be worthwhile. But for Chicago, I'm a little bummed that I'm not going to get anything back out of it. But anyway.
Well, stuff happens. Pandemic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Darn pandemic.
So many things have been ruined this year. I don't know if ruined, but just had to be changed this year, hasn't it? So, well, it was super cool seeing so many people out there with their families, and there's people out early in the morning running, and we've already said this, I guess, just all those different pictures and everything like that. But on top of it, and I want to give a shout out to Brian because I think he really spearheaded this, but you kind of stepped up and wanted to add kind of, if you've got the ability to give, let's team up with Give Kids the World. Brian, why don't you talk about the t-shirts that we put together and how that turned out?
Well, yeah, we took the great logo that you had put together, Steve, and we have a store set up on our website, so it was pretty easy to just go ahead and throw them onto a t-shirt design. So we threw them on t-shirts, and we sold a little over a dozen t-shirts, so not a ton, but we are taking all of the profits from those shirts and donating it to Give Kids the World. And so at my count this afternoon, we were at about $235 in t-shirt profits, and then Sam and I are going to match that personally, so that will double that amount of money. And frankly, we're just going to give a $500 donation to Give Kids the World on top of the $235 of t-shirt sales. And then my employer is a very generous matcher, so they're going to match that too. So
that's awesome.
should be about $1,200 and something to give Kids the World out of this weekend from our end of things. And then, Steve, I know you'd heard from some folks over at the Disney Deciphered podcast who had some success with some fundraising for Give Kids the World too.
Yeah, Joe and Leslie kind of threw it out to whoever wants to donate to Give Kids the World. They would match up to $600, and then they got the guys from Miles to Minute on
Memory.
as well. Miles to Memory on it as well, and they put in some money as well. So overall, this race weekend, they made just a little under $2,000. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so I want to really thank everybody out there who donated to Give Kids a World and ran the race. Just a fun weekend to kind of do something together, and then also give back to the charity almost like $3,300, $3,400. That's pretty cool for one first-time event.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
During a pandemic.
Yeah. So, Brian, will you leave the shirt? If anybody wants to get... this is a classic shirt. They're going to be selling hot on eBay, I'm sure.
My shirt's coming. I ordered one.
Yep.
It will be on its way.
I was checking today. There are some folks who ordered at the beginning of the month whose shirts still have not shipped out because of the COVID stuff and just, I think, availability of the shirts in different colors. But yeah, I'm hoping they'll all be going out here in the next week or so. But I'll leave it up on the website until the end of the month in case anybody wants to straggle in and buy one as a souvenir, and we'll make sure those get counted toward the donation.
Well, that's awesome. Let's kind of go through quick and talk about everybody's run, but I think we need to talk about Christy's first because she did something pretty special this weekend.
You guys are so funny. So I mentioned that I ran the Chicago Marathon, but then honestly, I haven't run a lot. I haven't run consistently since my son was born. So I restarted again sometime this year, the Couch to 5K, and I ran the 5K this year.
Oh my God, you did such a cool thing.
Thank you.
Also, once a marathoner, always a marathoner. So that's cool. But also, it's cool that you're like getting back on that running life.
Yeah. And I am so happy to have, I am also a little bit mad at myself for waiting so long to really get any real mileage under my under my belt. But I am really happy to be doing it again. I don't dislike running. I actually enjoy it quite a bit if my lungs and body and everything can handle it.
And it sounds like they could this weekend, which is exciting. I feel
my
like
husband...
you have an excuse, though, because you had a young child and you had 2 businesses and all of the stuff. If anything, this year of curveballs has caused you to, try something different.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm home and I am going to make this happen. I'm really happy about that. My husband did his 5K over 2 days. So he did some walk runs, but ran like a mile and a half each day, which is his longest run, maybe ever. And if not ever, in a really long time. So that's exciting that he's getting into that as well.
Nice.
I find it's a time where you can just kind of turn everything off, and I love that's what really turns me on for running. As far as you can really just break away from everything, and it just feels so much better afterwards. How are you feeling today after doing that, Christy?
Oh yeah, I feel good. I did it on Saturday, so obviously it's been a couple of days now. We're recording on Monday, but yeah, I feel good.
Well, congratulations once again. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So we look forward to some more virtual runs with you and getting you down to Walt Disney World and doing a Run Disney event as well.
Yeah, if Wine and Dine gets to happen, then I, in theory, will be doing that.
I think you're going to be down there, right, Brian?
Positive thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be down at Wine and Dine doing the 2-course challenge, so it might be my first trip to Disney since all of this started, if it actually happens.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Chris, you look like you had a pretty crowded field there when you were running through LA.
For those of you who don't know, it'll be gone by the time you see this, but I took over the Instagram channel for our show, and I filmed some running. I took my dog, Asher, and he's a small dog, but he likes to run, so that's exciting for me, and mostly for him. The thing is, if you hit more than 3.5 miles, he will find a spot of grass and just refuse to move another foot. So he knows his limits, and I've actually tested them before and had to run with him in my arms the rest of the way because he just was
God.
Absolutely not. I will not go further. But he loves a good 5K. So we ran a 5K. For me, it was my first 5K since hurting my Achilles.
Yeah. How was that?
So it's still sore, but not in a like, oh my gosh, I can't walk or I'm limping or anything sort of way. I'm definitely focused right now on cross training because cross training is the best way to prevent injuries like that. So I'm doing a lot of like strength and stretching type of training, but I am training for the full marathon at Disney World in January. So I'm really trying to be respectful of this injury and not let it get too out of control because I would be very disappointed to not get the full under my belt. So, yeah. And then in LA, I ran in the middle of the street without a mask so that I could be at least, 20 to 30 feet away from anybody. But otherwise, in LA, you would have to run with a mask because there's a lot of people on the sidewalks where you run. So I did it early. I did it in the middle of the road. And I didn't do it with any music because I had to have my ears alert for cars.
Well, because you're in the middle of the road.
Yes, but I did it all safely.
That is so great. Well, we're glad about that. And I'm glad your leg held up. Did you see that Joe from As the Joe Flies of Disney Deciphered, Joe Chung, ran with a mask on? And that is what he does all the time when he runs out in Boston, right? Is that where he's from?
Yeah, Boston. So I was just back there and ran along the Charles last week on a layover. And yeah, pretty much everybody has masks and runs with masks on back there. So that's pretty tough.
I've tried it, but the moment sweat gets onto the mask, then it turns into like a straight up suffocation tool because you can't breathe through a wet mask. So what I've heard people do is they bring like 5 or 6 masks, depending on the length, and they just keep dry ones in their pocket and replace them every time they get wet.
Was it a requirement in Boston to run with a mask, or people just doing it?
So I asked him about that before I went out there, and he said it depends on the city and the overall state of Massachusetts, but yeah, you could be fined. I saw a lot of people that what they would do is when they came up on somebody, they'd put the mask up, and then after they passed you, they dropped the mask back down. So that was kind of one way they were trying to get away from the wet mask there, Chris.
I was going to say that's what Sam, the other half of the DCL do. That's what she does. She wears a buff around her neck, and if she's coming up on somebody and going to be too close, she just kind of puts the buff up over her face, and then she takes it down. She passes.
I have seen people doing like putting a bandana around their neck and then putting that on if needed, if they're passing somebody too close or have to.
Or you feel like Brian, a good friend of our show too, he ran up to a lake out there near Salt Lake City. It was just away from everybody. That looked like a place to run too. So maybe if you could, I know some of us don't have that options when you live in where you live, like down in LA, right, Chris?
Yeah, but I do think in LA it's such there's like, I don't know, maybe 50 different cities all around here, and they all have different rules and laws. And so in LA proper, you have to wear a mask even if you're walking on the sidewalk. In Burbank, where I live, you only have to wear a mask if you're going inside of a building. So it's sort of hit or miss here in terms of who's wearing the masks on the street or not. But I also run with a mask in my pocket just in case I find myself in a crowded space and I need to throw something on.
Well, good on you, Chris. It was fun to watch your takeover on Instagram with you and Asher running. So.
It was super fun.
I know I started with all the energy in the world, and then I ended crawling into my house. It was so hot.
I really hope those videos are preserved somewhere because those are great. Those people need to see again.
And I get a kick out of Asher fast asleep after the run too. So.
Yeah, he was out.
And Brian, how you put together a pretty fun? You and Sam put together a pretty fun video too with your son for the run.
Yeah, all credit goes to Sam for the signs. I think she was leaning back into her experience from marathon weekend and all the fun signs that she saw. But yeah, we just set it up in front of our house, and we were going to use toilet paper as a finish line, but we thought that might be wasteful of a precious resource. So we found some streamers we had lying around from parties that we hadn't used, and threw a little thank you video together for folks. Yeah.
Where could people find that? I saw it on Twitter, but did you have it up anyplace else?
It's up on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel for the very nascent vlog that we originally started, so it's up there.
Okay, so if people want to find it and take a look at it, because I love the signs.
Yeah, the signs were really great. All credit to Sam for those, and our son had just had a blast like holding them up. So
That's adorable.
That's one of the best parts about Run Disney, too, is some of the snarky signs you see along the routes. Do you guys have any favorites that you've seen, Brian or Chris?
from Run Disney, no, but I will tell you, if any of you are sort of, football fans or remember the Seahawks loss to the 49ers, one of the greatest signs I ever saw was at the Seattle Marathon here. Someone held a sign. Actually, some friends of mine held a sign up that said, don't be like the Seahawks, run it in. So
Nice. Yeah. How about you, Chris?
I don't know if I can remember a favorite, but there's lots of ones that are like, I run for the churro or like run for the Mickey bar, which is very factual for me. But I also feel like I get mad whenever I see a sign that's like, you're almost there, and you're like just crossing through the Magic Kingdom and you fully have halfway to go still. I'm like, I am not almost there. I have much further to go, and stop trying to give me hope.
Right. Stop torturing me.
Yeah. I like only will accept a you're almost there if you're like in Epcot. Then I'm like, all right, you're right. I am probably almost there.
I feel like the only other time and you're almost there would be appropriate is at the very beginning of the race as just like an ingest.
Yeah, sure. I might take a nice like tongue in cheek when I still have the energy to handle it. But man, when it gets hot in Florida and you're not almost there, you just start asking yourself, why did I do this?
So I've got two. They were the two kind of like experiences more. It was the first marathon I did was the Marine Corps Marathon. And I think it was like I can't even remember now. It was like mile 7 or 8. You ended up going through Georgetown and you ended up in this like residential area. And there was like a whole bunch of people that had a table out with mimosas. And they were all chanting, quit now, drink now, quit now, drink now. So, I like that one. But my favorite one was as we came across, I think it's the George Washington Bridge you come across, or it's the freeway that cuts across by the Pentagon, if anybody's familiar in DC. And there was a guy dressed up as the Grim Reaper, and he had a big bell that he was ringing, and he had a sign that said the end is near. So I kind of like that one. Anyways, I digress there a little bit. Okay, well, Wake and I just went downtown Portland. We didn't do any Instagram takeovers. I thought that was awesome, Chris, or do any of the videos. But we had a good time. We just ran around the waterfront that you ran around, Chris, when you were here when you were up here in business a couple months ago. But it was a beautiful day up here in the Northwest. So it was good to get out and kind of stretch the legs and kind of do something with everybody else out there.
Yeah, Portland's so pretty, and that waterfront is like prime for running. Though, when I was there, I got attacked by a goose, and I was texting Steve. I was like, Steve, you did not warn me about these geese. Literally, it chased me for like 50 yards. This thing was just like behind me, screaming at me, like trying to get me. But besides that, it's very peaceful in front of the water in Portland.
Besides that near-death experience.
I just didn't even know there were geese up there, let alone the attacking kind that don't like it when people run near them.
Yeah, we've got murder hornets and homicidal geese up here. It's everyone knows about that, Chris. Come on.
Oh, the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, just get back down to Florida. You only have to worry about gators down there when you're running around. So.
And snakes.
And snakes, yeah.
So, Brian, you inspired me. I made a highlight of our stories so people can go back and see Chris doing his 5K.
Nice.
Funny takeover. So it now has been memorialized forever.
I didn't die, just to be clear.
Clearly.
Yeah, so that's on our Instagram, which is DCL_podcast. Also, I will put a shout out for DCL Duo's like website store. I went in there to look at the shirts, which will be there till the end of the month, and I saw that you all have like legit merchandise, including a like jacket that looks real nice that I for some reason put in my shopping cart as if I was about to buy this jacket. And I was like, wait a minute, Chris. No. It's the middle of the summer. And also, it's quarantine time. You shouldn't be buying this jacket, but your merchandise looks great, and I applaud you for it.
I am wearing that jacket right now because I ordered samples.
Come down, I'll wear it for you.
Can we all agree too? I think the other piece of this race we haven't talked about is the celebrations. Can we just agree that Chris in the Concierge Lounge had the best after race celebratory potential that I saw with his pool?
Oh, jeez. Well, and his homemade cabana too. So
yes, he was living his best life on the closest replica I've seen to Castaway Cay outside of Castaway Cay. So,
well, kind of looking back on this weekend, guys. Brian, thanks to you and Sam for being part of this, and Derek and Doug over at Roped Off Radio, Leslie and Joe at Disney Deciphered, Katie and Lake at Mouse Chen, and then also Jay and Dennis at Podcast Stardust. It was just kind of a cool thing to bring out all of us together and try and do something kind of fun together since Disney's been closed for so long. So, Chris, any final thoughts you want to wrap up the show with?
This was fun. I think we should do it again, just not because of a pandemic. Maybe the pandemic will end and we'll find a whole nother reason to run.
I like that.
But yeah, I think this was really fun. And just to have community in this time, but also in normal times, is super important. So I support it. I had fun. And I love the idea of like banding together a bunch of like ragtag Disney podcasts and online virtual communities and saying like, we're going to all be together and do something fun. So it was great.
And I guess I'm kind of remiss. Since Brian, you're our guest, I should have let you go in first. But any final thoughts that you have?
I just wanted to thank you, Steve, this was kind of your idea. So great job in coming up with the idea and really just, bringing us all together. So a big thank you to you. And I wholeheartedly support it. I think this is a great thing. And I think it'd be fun to do it again sometime. So, I don't know if it'll be an annual thing, but I think it'd be fun to do it again.
What I think we can make it be.
I think there was a vote of no annual thing. So anyway, the next time we do this, it would be a lot of fun.
We got to reword all of this. Yes, we could do a
Wait a minute. We have to put it this way. Let the lawyer speak so she can put it into lawyerly words.
Well, Brian's a lawyer too, right?
Well, that's true.
Let me put a disclaimer on this. Yes, we want to band together and do another event, another 5K, another virtual podcasting 5K. But no, I feel like all of us do not want it to be as a result of a world pandemic, which is a bit redundant probably there, but that is literally shutting the world down.
I thought that was assumed in my comment, but thank you for clarifying with the fine print there, Christy.
We need the fine print because the universe needs to listen so that because we want to do this again, we don't have this occur again.
I guess we'll just leave it with that. I guess as we kind of wrap it up, then we'll keep that asterisk there with no pandemics. Once again, Brian, thanks for coming on and jumping on with us today. It was super fun having you back here with us. And once again, all the best to you and Sam. Thanks for being part of this. And we look forward to the next virtual 5K, maybe sometime this next year, or maybe we'll do something for the holidays. I want to see Christy running in the snow.
No, never. Well, I could run in the snow the same way I ran in the heat yesterday on my treadmill.
All right. Well, once again, Brian, thanks for coming on. Thanks to everybody out there who ran this weekend, was part of it. We love seeing your pictures and stories once again. So all the best to you, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast.
Thanks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this look back at the Quarantine Cay 5K virtual run that we did last weekend over Memorial Day weekend. Once again, thanks to everybody who supports our shows, ran with us, walked with us, and helped support Give Kids a World. That was just an amazing amount of donations on something that we just kind of threw together. So once again, thank each and every one of you. And as part of the weekend, we had some giveaways. We have done the drawings. Blake, Christy's son, helped us out with that. And I just want to announce on here, the winner of the movie poster was Christy, and the winner of the DCL hat was Rhonda. The winner of the lithograph that comes when you sail Concierge was Rachel. And for those of you who reached out to me and let me know what 705 was, the number that I put down for running, that is Myra Verf's number for the Disney Wish. That's the ship number that she is going to be. So Derry won the pins. And all of you, I think, reached out and personally contacted you. So we'll be getting those out to you soon. Well, between now and our next show, which will be out in just a couple days here next week, all of us here at the DCL podcast, myself, Steve, Christy, and Chris, wish you all the best. Be well out there, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast.